It's almost coming to 7 years since Arsenal last played the Champions League game at the Emirates, and guess what? It's Mikel Arteta that is bringing the Champions League nights back at the side of Emirates. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. It's the big one. Arsenal entertaining PSV Eindhoven at the Emirates. It's a very huge game that Arsenal is going to play tomorrow, and obviously we are going to see to it that things go on that way. And you know, here onto the Rokani Media Football, every game that's going to be played, we're obviously coming through with what we call the match preview. And here we come to bring you what our thoughts are about this beautiful game of football of Arsenal versus PSV Eindhoven, a team that they played last year in the group stages of the UEFA Europa League, and they won it. They won 1-0 at home, and they lost to PSV in Netherlands by 2-0. You'll still remember that like yesterday, and it really shows you exactly how these are gonna hit to change. But when you look at how PSV played against the side of Arsenal, they really had some good players they're gonna hate to lose. Madueke has left. Cody Gakpo has gone ahead to leave. Xavi Simons is no longer there. Sangare is no longer there. So they're really having a very huge exodus of players this summer. And to sum it up, even their manager, Ruud van Nistelrooy, threw in the towel and obviously said, I'm not ready to play ball. I'm not ready to manage a team of PSV. I don't know whether it was for sinister reasons. I don't know. But he really had his reasons that he never made public, because he respects this club as it's the club that saw him come to Man United. It gave him a platform to showcase his talent, all huge talent, to the world. That is it, coming in from Ajax. And for the side of Arsenal, they still have Mikel Arteta with them. They're not going to hate to lose very many players apart from Granit Xhaka, Lokonga, and very many others. But Arsenal's going to hate to strengthen more and more by bringing in 4 players: Declan Rice, David Raya, Kai Havertz, and Julian Timber, who is really an injury away from returning from the squad of Arsenal. Would have been a very huge boost for him to play against the team coming in from the Netherlands, because they're going to have to obviously play into this derby a lot, especially between Ajax and PSV, because it's a very huge rivalry down in Amsterdam, and they obviously have to know what it all means. So it's a very huge blow for Arsenal for not having Julian Timber, but Arsenal comes in through to do the needful for this beautiful game of football. Rokani David is my name. We thank God for the gift of life, and to the Muslims, we thank Allah for the gift of life. And now there are certain issues I want to obviously point out that Google's gonna hate really let us know. These are the head-to-head, and you need to know them before we get into this fixture. They are telling us that Arsenal and PSV will face in the UEFA Champions League for the first time since the round of 16 in 2006-2007, when the Gunners were eliminated 2-1 on aggregate in their first season at the Emirates Stadium. So Arsenal and PSV last played almost 16 years ago. That was in 2006-2007. It was in the knockout stage. That means they last played in 2007, and they were playing at Emirates. So the second head-to-head is PSV are the only side to beat Arsenal in last season's UEFA Europa League, winning 2-0 at home. They won none of their 4 previous visits to the Gunners in all competitions. 2 draws, 2 losses, with these games seeing just 4 goals scored in a total of 3 for Arsenal and 1 for PSV. So it shows you that it's not a high scoring fixture, right? So at Emirates, PSV has never gone ahead to obviously get any win. They've gone ahead to draw at Emirates twice, and they've gone ahead to lose twice. Thirdly, this will be Arsenal's 20th season participating in the UEFA Champions League. The previous 19 all came consecutively between 1998 and 1999 until 2016-2017. That means when Arsene Wenger was in charge of Arsenal, Arsenal never missed out onto the Champions League. So they last missed out on the Champions League from 2017-2018 season, and here they come to obviously get back to the Champions League. Now, the fourth head-to-head states that Arsenal have progressed past the first group stage in each of their last 17 appearances in the UEFA Champions League. They last failed to do so in 1999, 2000, going to lose the Haitianese UEFA Cup final on penalties to Galatasaray. So it shows you that that's when he last really went out of the group stages. Now, the fifth head-to-head states this is PSV's first appearance in the UEFA Champions League since 2018 to 2019, and their 17th overall. They've played 110 games in the competition, second only to Ajax that have gone ahead to play 140 in the Dutch side. Those are what we call the head-to-head being provided to us by Google, and Arsenal is yet to return to play into this beautiful game of football. Obviously, the absentees for Arsenal are Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey is really battling some injury with him and is expected to return towards the end of October. Julian Timber, obviously, he's out until next year. Then who else is injured? El Nini is back in training, meaning that Arsenal is only having 2 injured players. Oh, I had forgotten Martinelli, who really saw himself walk off the field of play when Arsenal took on the side of Everton, over the weekend. That was Sunday. Those are the 3 injured players that Arsenal are really having. The rest of the players have been pictured into the last training session that has been conducted at London Conley as Arsenal prepare to take on the PSV side coming in from Netherlands. When you look at PSV, they are really having there is a player that is really out that you all know, Noah Lang. You know him very well. He plays as a left forward and is really a huge threat, and he was really forced off the field of play in 11 minutes. And they also don't have Opisco, Frederick Opeg, and Mauro Jr. in there for you, and they're expecting lots of players to obviously come in through and get the job done at Emirates. When you look at them, they obviously have players like Serginho Dest, PSV. I want to relate some of the players that you might be knowing. Van Halt, him playing in the Premier League, is a left back. Then Bakayoko is their star man, plays as a right attacking midfielder, and he's really left-footed. Then Neolang is out, and De Jong, him, Luke De Jong, who plays for the Dutch national team, and he's obviously going ahead to do the needful. They played a team called NEC over the weekend, and it was a Saturday, and they won that game by 4-0. Luke De Jong scored a brace, Neolang scored, and Ricardo Pepi came off the bench and obviously went ahead to score those goals. For Arsenal, they went ahead to beat Everton by how many goals? By 1-0, and they obviously went ahead to win that beautiful game of football. Now, we get straight into this, and what is it called? It's all about one thing. It's what we call the predicted starting 11 for Arsenal. But Arsenal are really a good team, and they're going to hit to reinforce, and Declan Rice's attraction to Arsenal had Champions League attachments to it, and he's obviously going to play his first Champions League game ever, coming in through to lift the trophy of the UEFA Conference League at Fulham, and is now into the Champions League. Now, the big question is, who is starting in goal? I remember telling you when David Raya came in through at Arsenal that maybe Mikel Arteta wants to obviously bring in a new narrative in the goalkeeping department, that no goalkeeper is immune to really competition, because most teams have gone ahead to be having their first choice goalkeepers and they don't change them. But for Mikel Arteta, looks like rotation is going to be part of the game. But however much David Raya came in through and started the game of Everton, I don't think he's going to start this game. Why? The reason as to why Aaron Ramsdale was benched was because he had to be in between the stitches of Arsenal as Arsenal plays in the Champions League. I think in these group stages, Arteta is going to reward every player at Arsenal that obviously made it happen for them to qualify for the Champions League. And I believe it's going to be Aaron Ramsdale in between the stitches in the goal of Arsenal. And I told you in the match preview of Everton that if at all we see Aaron Ramsdale in between the stitches as Arsenal takes on Everton, that means in the midweek it's going to be David Raya. But we went ahead to see David Raya in between the stitches, meaning that the manager wanted Aaron Ramsdale to obviously be in the to be in between the stitches as Arsenal post PSV and Heaven as they will come Champions League nights back at Emirates since 2007. That is it. Now, after that, the right back position, there is Tomiyasu, there is Ben White. I think for his first Champions League game, he's going to go strong with his best squad because he knows exactly what this means. Because this side is really great and Ben White played a very pivotal role to really take Arsenal to where they are right now. And I believe Ben White is obviously going to be played as a right back for Arsenal. And he would have gone ahead to have some trouble with Noah Lang, but Noah Lang is off. And that shows you that he might really have a very good game. Left back, I think the man himself, Zinchenko, is going to be played as the left back for Arsenal, as he's the best left back alive. And I think Arsenal will have to do lots of things next summer to obviously bring in a left back, you know, to go ahead and obviously do the job. If at all Mikel Arteta believes that maybe Julian Timber will obviously take himself to the next level. And it will depend on how Tomiyasu conducts himself this season. If he keeps himself fit for the lion's share of the season, then he will obviously find himself in a position of really going to where Arsenal deserves him to be. But I think if he doesn't behave himself and he really sees himself injured a lot, I think Mikel Arteta will really put him on the market to be sold and maybe get in another player altogether. Now, after that, we go to the central defense. I think he's going to maintain his best central defense partnership. That is William Saliba as the right-sided centre back and Gabriel Magalhaes as a left-sided centre back. And these Champions League games are obviously very important for the careers of William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, especially as far as the national team is really concerned. When you look at William Saliba, the players that are really rated ahead of him, Upamecano, Jules Koundé, Konate, Kimpembe, you know, are players that have gone ahead to find themselves playing in the Champions League, you know, and the Champions League is obviously taken to be one of the best tournaments in the world as far as club football is really concerned, though it has very few games, but it means a lot to the national teams. And if Saliba puts up a very huge performance in these 6 group stage games, he might find himself into the starting 11 of the France national team, because in the Premier League has gone ahead to prove it, and he needs to prove it at the Champions League level, and maybe Deschamps will obviously find a position for him. The same applies to Gabriel Magalhaes. The Brazilian national team obviously has gone ahead to play 2 games there, and if at all he keeps performing to the level that has been performing in the Premier League and he transfers them to the Champions League, then he's obviously going to find himself into that position of really playing into the side of Arsenal, that is the Champions League side. Then we go to the midfield. Obviously, Declan Rice coming into the CDM area as he plays in the Champions League for the very first time. Had a very beautiful game, by the way, against Everton, although people never went ahead to give him the hail he deserves. He really played very well, and I think he's going to play into that central defensive midfield. The energy, the way he was passing, and I think Arteta is obviously going to improve him and make him a better player. Then Captain Odegaard, obviously playing the Champions League again for the side of Arsenal is really great. You know, leading the team as a captain to the Champions League for the very first time and hosting your first game at the Emirates is obviously the best that every player would always love to happen to his career. And I think Fabio Vieira is obviously going to be dropped, and Kai Havertz is obviously going to be dropped into this team because of the Champions League experience. That's why you're going to see the likes of Zinchenko start, because he has been at this level before, playing the Champions League games at Man City. Kai Havertz has gone ahead to lift the Champions League. He has played some good games at Chelsea in the Champions League, and he knows what this is all about. You know, sometimes the naivety can lead to your obviously losing such games. We know PSV have gone ahead also to spend some big time, because they last played in the Champions League in 2018, 2019, but that doesn't stop them from obviously having quality players that can threaten the side of Arsenal, even at their stadium of the Emirates. So that's why the Champions League experience is obviously needed. Now, we go to the right forward, no question, Bukayo Saka. This is his moment. this is his moment. I want to see Bukayo Saka rise up to the occasion. I want to see him put in assists. I want to see him really scoring those goals and really showing the people that he is the best right forward in the world in his age. This is the grand stage for him to showcase his goodies. And if at all Bukayo Saka plays very well and obviously puts those balls at the back of the net, he's obviously going to put his name up there into the ilk of the players that are obviously going to be good into this Champions League. And God has gone ahead to really bless Arsenal that in their group that has Sevilla, PSV, and which other team is there? Let me see. Which other team is there? And Rennes. Arsenal can easily qualify out of this group stage. So if they qualify, they go to the round of 16, because I know if they qualify in the round of 16, Arsenal will get in more quality into the squad to obviously compete at the round of 16 levels, because by January they would have gone ahead to know which teams they are going to face, which teams they are going to face in the knockout stage. So Bukayo Saka, the stage has obviously been laid for him. This is the grand stage for him to showcase what he can do at this level. Then on the left forward, with Martinelli out, you obviously have very many options. Reece Nelson, Emile Smith-Rowe, and Leandro Trossard. But how do you drop a man who really scored a very beautiful goal against Everton? That is Leandro Trossard, and gives you a different kind of play altogether for the side of Arsenal. So that is what we are going to see Arsenal take on. And Leandro Trossard is obviously going to be facing what we call Serginho Dest into that position, and Bukayo Saka is going to be facing a man known as is it Van Holt? Yeah, Van Holt, and we are waiting to see whether that is going to obviously be one of the easiest ties for him to obviously go past. And who is leading the line? Is it Edin Nketiah or Gabriel Jesus? I think this is where Arsenal needs the experience of Gabriel Jesus to come in through and lead the line. Edin Nketiah was just chasing shadows into that game of Everton, but I think this time around Jesus is going to start to obviously coming through and obviously take Arsenal to where they deserve to be. But we are going to be having some interesting battles into this game of football, especially when it comes to Bakayoko and Zinchenko. Bakayoko is one of the best right left-footed players into the Dutch league, and very many teams are really looking to sign him up. And I know by the end of these group stages, he might be a very good player that every team is going to be looking at to sign. And Zinchenko needs to be at his best to stop this lad, because he is really on fire. If at all you go all out and read what Bakayoko has gone ahead to do for them this season, he has gone ahead to play 4 games and is going ahead to put up 1 assist. That is Bakayoko for you. So in the Champions League qualifications, he played 4 games and put in 4 assists. It shows you exactly how fired up this guy is, and he's really doing great business for this side, and is one of those that is just 20 years of age, and he is really being rated highly by the football people that really watch the game. So guys, that is the predicted starting 11 for the side of Arsenal. What are your subtractions and what are your additions into this fixture? Because I know you guys have your own thoughts about this fixture of PSV and Arsenal at the Emirates tomorrow. My prediction is simple. I think Arsenal is going to win this game by 3-0, all 3-1, because Arsenal really keep a clean sheet at home. But I know they are going to obviously win this game by 3 goals, and the biggest threat is obviously going to come from the side of the man himself called Bakayoko. He is the most threatening player that you'll see play for that side of a PSV, and Zinchenko and Trossard need to do the needful to block his threats, because he's a threatening player and you're going to watch him tomorrow. So guys, my prediction is 3-1 in favor of Arsenal. Your predictions are welcome in the comment section below. I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. May the living true God bless you abundantly. The Muslim viewers and subscribers, Barak Lau Fikum, and see you later. Ciao ciao.